Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks in another match of Beyond All Reason, where you may have noticed that I've turned off the starting sound. I realized that was a little bit on edge. Not particularly my favorite noise in the known universe, so I decided to go ahead and turn that off, and I figured I'd show you guys how to do that really quickly here. As we start this game up, all is fairly standard. You can go over here to notifications, you can go to battle started and battle ended, and you can just disable that in case it bothers you as well. But anyway, spawning as the blue team leader in the midline of Hela's Basin, it goes by the name of Super Noob, 23 true skill American hero, going to be showing us what he's got right here in this interesting spot. Yeah, you kind of have the opportunity to support your front line or go for a little bit of tech. You could maybe rush out a more expensive strategy with the geothermal, maybe go for some really big tank pushes or something like that, maybe save up a bunch of bots. There's a lot of opportunities there. I'm always happy to see exactly what these commanders get up to. All the way on the other side is a Cortex commander and getting into the water, dipping their toes into the pond, goes by the name of Shadowfire Lamb. Shadowfire Lamb going to be building a naval, well, Cortex naval lab here, potentially. I guess we're going to change the plans right now. Eventually, I do believe we'll get into that naval lab here any second. There we go. Okay, going to build it a little deeper out into the water, send those struts deeper into the seas right here, and make sure those boats have a good opportunity to afloat away from shore and start harassing their opponent. Now, Shadowfire Lamb is going to be going up against Aguvian, or Aguvian, the green commander. And we have the purple commander, goes by the name of Wilfredo, going up against Orange Juice. Now we also have these other interesting spots over here. You can see static defense being transported around with the commander over here, going to be claiming all these. Actually, no lab over here, so this is kind of a risky strategy. Risky in the sense that you basically have no follow-up. If, for instance, this commander gets shot down, there's really no way to get yourself back into this game. I think what I'd like to see instead of this is a bot lab here and then a constructor, and then you can always deconstruct it and do whatever aggressive plays you're going to do over on this side. But I suppose it does mean that static offense is going to be much faster to the front lines here, as opposed to what you normally would have if you went for a bot lab. Now, sort of similarly, Darker Than Max, the powder blue commander, has also forfeit the bot lab here, and instead just walked the commander forward in lieu of, that bot lab, going for the naval lab here. Should be good stuff. Wilfredo playing as a Cortex commander here on the high seas, worth noting, versus Orange Juice's Armada. Does that mean we have an Armada versus Cortex on both seas? It sure does. All right, good stuff. Now, Cortex has famously been extremely good on the high seas. Very potent. Their Warcraft are easily outclassing even the Armada equivalents. The destroyers, the frigates, basically everything for Cortex is a little bit better on the ocean. I'm not sure exactly why. I think there's probably some balancing things there. Right, there's some notes. I don't have a great read on that situation though, so it is more of just a fact to accept and to live with. If you're going to play Armada, you have to be absolutely on top of your naval game. Now this is painful. Purple commander, who is already out into the ocean, is losing some metal extractors here. 3 of these rovers have rascaled their way across the map. I don't know why I chose that word specifically, but they're going to be taking down 3 of these metal extractors right here. Definitely very efficient for those rovers to do. Eventually going to be cleaned up by the grunts over here, but that hurts quite a lot. That's going to mean Wilfredo has to come back to land to rebuild all these mexes, and as well we lost the radar and what was the other thing over here? Well, we didn't lose the solar panel, so I guess it was just the radar here. The radar and the mechs, the 2 things going down. Ooh, boosted boyo. Unaware of the change that means that commanders will no longer kill each other with D-guns here. Yikes. Yeah, Lavender Commander learning the hard way that this commander is not going to go down to a D-gun here, probably hoping to trade out. Not going to be the case as it stands. That's a change that was made a long time ago by this point, but, you know, sometimes people coming back from their, from whatever games they were enjoying and coming to Beyond All Reason, discovering some of the intricacies, certainly. That was a weird meta. Looking back at it, that was a really strange meta. Back when commanders could D-gun each other. You only had to get within D-gunning range. You didn't have to do the hug of death like we have nowadays, which is also a little bit strange, but I feel like it makes it a little bit easier to avoid, for instance. It's a lot easier to not get caught losing everything that you hold near and dear, aka your 2,500 metal commander. 1,500 metal commander. 1,250 metal commander? Sheesh. My brain is fried. So this is kind of what I was expecting here. You can see the Orange Commander slowly pumping out some of those medium tanks, but mainly having a huge focus on that geothermal. As soon as that geo comes up and online, though, we'll have all the energy in the world to start pumping out tanks extremely fast. So a little bit of a slower start here from the Orange Commander to make more of an investment into the economy. If it pays off, it means that we're going to have tons of medium tanks on the line. If it doesn't, then it means the Hastakaya is going to be in a whole lot of trouble here. Bots rolling forward. We do have the Rocketeer, or pardon me, the Aggravator, the Cortex Rocketeer there, going up against Hasta. All right, D-Gun, very low on energy right now for the Brown Commander. Having a hard time killing these units. Okay, 16%, 13%, my goodness, the thug that could. The thug that would be king. Not gonna be the case this time. Little flamethrower turret has been popped up right here. Dragon's Maw going to be spraying, well, hellfire of fire. Going to be spraying fire all over the place here, trying to blast down whatever it can on the front lines. I'm not entirely convinced that that's the most efficient turret to go for here. I think a heavy laser tower wouldn't be a bad idea just because of how much range it has. But then again, we are going up against a vehicle player here, so I guess the Wolverines are going to outrange your heavy laser turret, so maybe at the end of the day a pop-up turret is going to be best because at least it has the durability to survive if we're going to harass it. Stinky Bee is overflowing tons and tons of metal right now, though. Yeah, a lot of metal on the front lines right here for the Yellow Commander, so definitely need to start investing in some build power in the back line. The energy economy is slowly growing here, but hasn't quite hit its peak value yet. Love the aggravators on the front, though. We mix in some resbots and this composition gets extremely, extremely dangerous. We're actually getting a wrap on Robothor as well. 2v1 cries out Robothor. Indeed, those medium tanks are slowly coming online. Robothor misjudging the situation here, assuming that the advantage was just in their aggression, but realistically it was only because the opponent wasn't contributing on the front. Now that it's a 2 versus 1, Robothor has to fall back and play a little bit less greedy. Super Noob moving the commander forward right now. Gonna try and go help out up there. Going for a tech advantage rather than a unit advantage. What this means is that the ground that was lost right here for the red team will be retaken. So more and more units stream up to the front line. If the blue team can't hold, then this tech advantage will be worth nothing because they will have fallen. How are the naval battles going? We do have 3 destroyers out now for the green commander, going to be firing away whenever they can. We need this skater up here as a little bit of radar detection so that these destroyers can actually fire away efficiently. One of them is going to go down right here. Frigates out DPS destroyers, so it's a bit of a weird matchup because they can effectively counter destroyers when in essentially equal numbers. Frigates also much more maneuverable. Something to consider. Dolphins are built here, though. Now, the way Dolphins turn this tide is by getting around and activating the flanking damage so that the destroyers can actually do a little bit more damage per shot. I don't mind this, though. Yeah, the destroyer's engaging pretty well against the frigates. So this is an interesting way of playing Navy. Usually we see a lot more frigates mixed in here, but I think I like this quite a lot. The destroyers are definitely barraging these frigates and making it really difficult for that red commander to move forward right now. I think if we have some res subs to eat up all this metal right now, the green commander is going to be in a great spot. However, the res sub is available for the red commander. If we can get that res sub, basically whoever can get a res sub underneath all this wreckage and eat it up is going to have a fabulous time. However, it's worth bearing in mind the 2 destroyers are already out for the green commander, which means they're going to have the ability to get into the, or fire into the water and kill those res subs. Meanwhile, on the Northern Sea, the purple commander has been completely blasted out of this game. Yeah, no constructors left. Oh, there we go. Wilfredo rebuilding on the back of his teammate over here. Going to be trying to build an economy off of just E-converters. Definitely possible, but not convenient. Not convenient in the slightest here. Trying their very best, though. I appreciate the tenacity. You can see their entire lab destroyed over here by the Maroon Commander. What is the transition we're going to go for? Usually we see people go for an amphibious lab almost immediately. However, we are a Armada Commander, so we don't actually have access to those salamanders, which are usually the go-to for anybody that's trying to hold as much as possible or push as hard as possible with some of those transitions. We do have the construction ship here. At the very least, that construction ship is quite nice. Looks like, oh, we actually threw the destroyers. Oh, no. Destroyers have fallen right here. Heard a Spybot detonate. Oh, okay. Nicely done. Spybot connects with a couple of those medium tanks. Not bad. You let those medium tanks snowball up. Oh, Super Noob, no. 30%. 17. Boom! Goes the commander in blue right there, misjudging those Janices, and down he goes. My goodness. 30% off of a commander's HP just from a couple of Janus. Just a pair of Janus doing all that work. Incredible. Hounds are now starting to build right here, but the blue team desperately needs to get that medal. If we can get that medal and throw it back to the blue commander right here and use it to pump out those tier 2 units, I think this is going to look a whole lot better. But we need to secure this immediately. Robothor is in position. Ready and waiting, commander. Robothor needs to get in gear. Busy microing the units, but not reclaiming any of them. I think it's desperately necessary that we claim all that metal right there. Otherwise, this is just going to be an overwhelming amount of units heading towards the front line. The T2 haven't snowballed to the point that they can efficiently trade against the T1. They're trying desperately to. You can see those hounds firing away at the medium tanks, and they do good damage against the medium tanks. But you got to remember, those medium tanks have so much HP that oftentimes they can neglect the amount of damage that the hounds do if they're not in big enough numbers. And then, of course, they can just roll right by, straight into your eco or wherever they want to go, blowing apart your base, leaving you in cinders. Well, okay, at the very least, with a little bit of missed micro opportunities right there, the medium tanks will fall. Stunned that Robothor still has not moved forward to eat this. I appreciate that the red team is making a push to, at the very least. Yeah, we do see Hastaki going to try and eat that commander wreckage. Yeah, we're going to die for the commander wreckage. Those hounds are quite powerful, though. Here we go. Maybe we're waiting for the spy bot. There is the spy bot out and available right now for Super Noob. Going to be moving that forward to try and find anybody that he can and blast them to smithereens. Every hound we put on the front line is extremely valuable right now. And that metal control does fall thoroughly under the red control. The blue control, pardon me. The red team losing control of all that metal. There we go. And finally, Robothor decides to start eating away right here at all that juicy reclaim. There's still another commander available over here. The brown commander went down to a couple of bulls, and Mauser pushing forward right here. Lovely little, extremely difficult composition to kill. Bulls very sturdy, Mauser very long range. Definitely a composition that's not easy to bring down without some sort of efficiency device like a spy bot or shurikens or anything like that. And just like that, a beautiful little trade. And you know what? The res subs have even resurrected one of these destroyers over here, and the numbers for the red player have suddenly spiked. Beautifully done right there. I think diving back in with those destroyers was just a little too greedy. We lost 2 of the destroyers, and suddenly it flips the tables. Oh, how the turntables, and just like that, the green commander is completely forced off of line. Yep, submarine in a whole lot of trouble. That's a lot of destroyers available right there. Nicely played right here by Shadowfire Lamb. Getting the units into position, using them wisely, using the res subs to pick up with the most important units, i.e. the destroyers, and then capitalizing on that advantage as much as possible. Claiming all these metal extractors certainly helps, don't get me wrong. We do have the T2 transition, a greedy T2 transition, but I don't think it's going to be worth it. Yeah, these units moving forward right now, they only need to snipe that T2 lab. If they can snipe that T2 lab, then this is game over right here for the green commander. That's nearly 3,200 metal put into technology here instead of on the Navy. You can see that's almost half the cost of the Navy right now that the red team or the red player is sporting. And just like that, a critical misjudgment right there from the green commander leaves them without a Navy and shortly without a commander. 26%, 14-1, and boom goes the green commander, leaving tons of metal available for the reclaim, as well as a commander ripe for the resurrection. I'd love to see the commander rezzed and sent onto the shore here to cause havoc. I always like when that pans out. Now, for what it's worth, we do have quite a lot of T1, but the thing about T1 is it loses to T2. Yeah. Even if you manage to kill the T2, the problem is that you're never going to do it efficiently, right? The T2 is going to kill way more T1 before it goes down. At least, hypothetically, it should. And what that means is even if you take a decent fight, you're still going to be taking a losing fight. Big old Mauser ball over here. Growing in size and therefore growing in danger. Oh, Stinky Bee going for the D-gun. Going for the D-gun. Gets within range, cuts apart those bulls very nicely. Mauser get cut down as well by the D-gun right there from the yellow commander. Excellent play right there from the Stinky Bee commander, who is managing to keep themselves alive with some cheeky D-gunnery. Beautifully done right there. That is always the saving grace, is sending a D-gun forward and trying to catch your enemy with it. Do have to be careful though, those Mauser have a little bit of splash damage, which means that they are liable to blow up a commander if even they know where its radar signature is. Be so careful about that. We do still have the radar and radar jammer available right here for the green commander, so for the time being, all is going to be well. We know where that commander is more or less retreating to. Everything is going to be a-okay. Better than that, even. This front line has completely disassembled. Yeah, that early aggression didn't pay off enough, and that early T2 lead here from the blue team is now paying dividends as these T2 units have ravaged the bases of the yellow, the orange, and the brown commander, and just like that, no more production remains right here for Koisi. The brown commander has to Kea or Stanky B. Beautiful, beautiful transition right there. It's the reason why we see those tech transitions so perfectly timed and so often as the standard, is because when you go for that tech transition, it virtually guarantees that you'll make it to the mid game if your early game can hold out long enough. The red team just couldn't hold on. The aggression can pay off, but it feels like there was a lack of coordination. It definitely feels like the blue team was more coordinated on their push and pull, the ebb and flow of their technology level and their resources, whereas the blue team was, or the red team, pardon me, was kind of all over the place. They sort of pushed and pulled all over, didn't make as many units as each other, kind of didn't hold the line as steady, and I feel like it goes to show. Here are the thugs marching into the base now, blowing apart the wind turbines wherever they can. Beautiful chain reaction right there. It takes down all the wind turbines for Koisi, and this has become a very uncomfortable situation indeed. Red team's going to need to address this immediately. We need some way of making up the difference right here. One thing that can always work is a rapid transition towards seaplanes. Going for some of those seaplanes and going for a bombing run. There's definitely a lot of opportunities for bombing. You can see certainly this geothermal, but also this geothermal right here. Both of which relatively close to the shoreline, very low distance, which means bombers wouldn't have to travel very far in order to deal with all that. We do have a couple of anti-air flak trucks moving forward right now. Like Commander even was sniped right here. And I think another one will be too. Yeah, Wasp gunships up in the sky, blasting apart whatever they can with their missile launchers, their Hydra rockets, flying apart directly into these commanders. Yeah, nicely done. Boosted Boyo as well as the Cyan commander here, Robothor, both falling. Advanced Geo. Moments from completion. Oh no. Oh no. Don't tell me. 3 seconds now before it's finished. Oh, and it goes up. Well, we all know what that means. Oh, the Mauser not finishing the job though. Just barely not finishing the job. Oh no, they don't realize. They didn't realize that they didn't kill it up there. Oh, what a bummer. If Bar None had realized, he absolutely would have continued firing at this thing and popped it. There are these gunships up in the air though, and they're causing so much strife right now for the red team, or for the blue team to deal with. We do have thugs continuing to blast the base right here of Orange Juice as well, crippling that commander so that maybe we can manage to do something over here. Then again, Darker Than Max has effectively lost all the Navy battle over here, so just going to try and reclaim whatever he can, but effectively out of the game at this point. No constructors on land here, so I do believe this goon kill will be quite satisfying. Oh, the frigates stealing it from left field right there, but there we go. Goons marching their way up the shoreline here, going to run directly into the base of Wilfredo, who has been doing a fabulous job of rebuilding into this game for the last 17 minutes. Maybe not 17 minutes, maybe more like 12 minutes, something like that. Eliminated quite early, I will say, from the Maroon Commander, which does give Orange Juice time to react to all this, but it definitely hurts losing so much of your base right here to a couple of land-based units. Never comfortable, not to mention all the metal that's down right now, because the metal extractors aren't pushing. With both Cs won, there's a tremendous opportunity here for the red team to capitalize on. Glad to see that hovercrafts were produced in mass here, so they're going across the map, and the economy right here for Wilfredo, it's worth noting, is extremely flammable. It's all based on E-converters and wind turbines, and those are not spaced out enough. They'll chain react on each other, and just like that, all the hard work that Wilfredo spent so long doing will go up in smoke here as these goons manage to rob the opportunity. Ooh, just barely not of the purple commander. That was extremely lucky that those went down right there. If this had chain reacted, that would have been just about as bad as it could have gotten right there for the purple commander. Gunships cleaning this all up very, very slowly, but very steadily. No, not too slowly. We do have spy bots in the backline, by the way. Let's check out the vision. Yeah, okay, so we've fully scouted the Hot Pink Commander's base. Are we going to go for a nuclear strike? Whenever you get those spy bots in the backline, it becomes very, very enticing. It becomes very, very enticing to go for a nuclear strike because, well, why not? You know, we see that there's no anti-nuke available in the backline right here. Why not just put a little nuke down, right? At Bear 27's base, right in the middle of, whose base is this? Van Doylen? Or Vandalin? Why not? Missile boats available, but not being utilized, really. Missile boats should be able to come over to this shoreline over on this side and fire away. Not sure what we're not. Ah, we are starting up the nuke. I knew it. I smelt it. Super Noob definitely trying to capitalize on that excellent scouting information by going for a decisive preemptive strike here. Anti-nuke boat is available here for the Red Commander, it's worth noting. Right next to all the explosive converters, so important to also keep note of that. We do have a fusion reactor just about to finish right now for the Red Commander, and maybe after this we'll start a capital ship. Capital ships at one point in time, not worth the investment hardly ever. Nowadays, I would say it's probably definitely well worth the investment. They're quite powerful, capable of immense sums of damage. Yeah, this has never been fully addressed over here, though. Wilfredo trying to clean up as much of this as possible. There's just not enough units out on the field quite yet. We were very low on build power. We tried to go T2. Wilfredo probably expecting to have more time here to rebuild. Not the case. And now this purple commander is under a whole lot of pressure. Is he gonna go down? It's close. 10%, 9%, 8, 7. Oh, just barely escaping from that one. My goodness. Wilfredo definitely needs an army. Hopefully we just hand over all these pawns. No reason to keep these. Just hand them over to the commander, guarding all that so that you don't have to worry about microing it. That's what I hope to see here anyways. Missile boats firing away at shoreline here, trying to take down all these units that are forcing their way across the map right now. The economic benefit, actually it's not as big as I thought it would be. Yeah, you know what, only about 400 versus 350, so 50 metal advantage right now for the blue team. Most of that advantage is lost because of the seas being taken right here, so there's still a lot of metal extractors that need to be cleaned up, so a little bit of a bummer not to see those being taken down here. Certainly sending a destroyer around, or maybe even a submarine would be a cheaper option. Just clearing out all those metal extractors. We did have a constructor that was trying to build a metal extractor. Got stopped by the mechs already being on the metal extractor. Big wave of pawns over here to clean all this up. There is a bunch more goons moving across over here. I think it's time we either invest in Cayman, is that what they're called? The hover tanks, or invest in just a little bit of a different tech strategy. Maybe going for some of those aircraft, what are they called? Amphibious aircraft. Gunships trying to clean this up once more, but the flak trucks are available at this point. Those flak trucks hurt. They hurt a lot. Definitely not comfortable to keep your Air Force right over the enemy flak trucks. Oh, cheeky. Shadowfire Lamb did eventually resurrect that commander over here. I'm glad we see it because that was a cheeky little strategy, but I'm glad that we're mixing it up a little ways, and we're gonna go for some maces. Okay, interesting. Maces could work right here. They have the sturdiness to get into the back line over here, but I wonder if pawns wouldn't work just as well. Quicker, more readily available. Yeah, I think pawns would probably achieve just about essentially the same thing. Lukey Pookie going for the full wall off here, building essentially a essentially a Raptor defense over here. We've got LLTs, we've got Scorpion turrets, we've got everything and some more to make sure that we've completely covered this area. We do have constructors still out here on the sea. Oh no, sorry, they're up on the ridge right there, just barely alive. Both teams feel like they're extremely close to victory. Neither one knows exactly how to close this game out. Hilarious to see. Yep, cries out the blue commander. Apparently, psychic. Super Noob has seen the golden path, and it involves a whole bunch of thugs marching upwards towards the base of the blue team. Surprising lack of capital ship here, though. Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and invest in a whole bunch of hovercraft platforms here. Interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing an even greater economy at this point. I mean, just going for fusion reactors is great, but sending a constructor out here to just build a massive ball of fusion reactors and then a massive ball of E-converters wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Sort of a passive way to increase the economy constantly over time. Definitely would be well worth it right here for the Red Commander. Take advantage of all that space while you've got it. Gunships passively taking down all of these pawns right here, meaning they're effectively wasted metal, which is a little bit of a bummer. But there we go. Nuke up in the skies, and it's going to be sending across the map right here. Ooh, are we taking out the Maroon Commander first? No, we are not. It's headed directly towards the pink base. And boom goes the base. Beautiful, beautiful nuclear connection. Wipes out the entirety of the purple, or the pink, the hot pink base is the color that is. Hot pink base gets nuked into oblivion, reduced to atoms, and I can sympathize. That's something that I forget about all the time until you hear that nuclear launch detected, and you clench up a little bit. Will it trigger an anti-nuclear response from anybody else is the question. It certainly should. For the time being, though, I think the pink commander hasn't even realized that his friend has been nuked. Loads of wind turbines here, by the way. Definitely time to eat those wind turbines and put them to rest. Oh, we charged 2 nukes. Wonderful. Oh, well, that's just beautiful. Just to make sure that the pink player didn't have time to build an anti-nuke. They weren't going to anyway, but just in case. And there we go. 2 nukes into the back line to completely shut down every chance that the red team had of ever building back into this game. The economy crumbles immediately as all of the eco, or virtually all of the eco, was built into the hot pink player's base, which it now lies in thermonuclear ruin. We have these thugs continuing to march forward over here, these maces, pardon me. Yeah, not a big fan. I think personally the pawns or even ticks might have worked a little bit better over here. I can appreciate at the very least that the maces are a little sturdier than the others, but I don't think it really matters all too much. Fusion reactors coming up and running. That's the thing though about the naval economy. Largely based on slow but steady growth as opposed to the kind of exponential growth that we see out of APHIS production. It means that you can have a little bit of a strange interaction where even though the Navy player has been growing their economy for ages and ages after winning their lane, they end up not with as tremendous an economy as the other players, the eco players, for instance, because it just isn't as cost effective. Yeah, pit bulls, beamers, perfect response over here. Just like that, all those maces are cleaned up relatively easily. Essentially no sweat off the brow right here of the lime green commander. All the blue team has to do now is take out either of these naval players and we're in good spots. Nuke's still viable over here, by the way. Orange juice not covered by anti-nuke. The red base is covered by anti-nuke, so at the very least there's that. Rebuilding occurring in the back line here. We still have the spy bot, which was tucked away, which is quite nice. Going to make sure that at the very least we can continue our reconnaissance. This area very prone to nuking as well, though. It's a lot of expensive units. You can certainly see those being blown to smithereens right here. There we go. Missile boats finally getting in on the action. Feels like it's so late. Nuke tried to go towards the red base here, going to be denied by the anti-nuke ship. Lovely stuff. We're targeting down the advanced fusion reactors here. Boom goes the base. Beautifully done right there. Wonderful play from the red commander, if not a little too late. But geothermal is obviously a prime target for any missile boats that happen to be along that shoreline. But that slows down the blue team quite a lot. Brings things back into relative perspective here. What was once a astronomical lead is now just a tremendous lead. The blue team with 411 metal per second versus the red team's 272. Not the end of the world, but certainly making things even once more here. Thing is, missile boats shouldn't be done. There's still a geothermal up here. There's still plenty of base over here. Do we just not have scouting information? Yeah, that's the problem. No scouting available right here. We should always be targeting geothermal spots, but other than that, making sure that whatever we have is going to be firing away, efficiently trading whenever and wherever possible. Yeah, we do have the E-converters up and running, though, now. Bar none calls a resign vote. Wow. After the single, well, I guess it was kind of multiple bases going up right there, but mostly the blue player's base going up in smoke calls a resign vote right here. Oh, don't tell me. They're like 2 or 3 votes away. Gunships in the back line, my goodness. There we go. Flak turrets will shoot them down. That was very, very close. There it is. Last commander right here. For the blue team. Lukey Pookie's commander. Oh, there's some of those came in. The hovercraft tanks moving forward right now. Snipe the commander in purple here, Wilfredo. Offensive rattlesnake now building. Wow, and they did it. I can't believe it. The blue team actually resigned at that point, despite having a crazy advantage. Just that one attack from the red commander actually convinced them to give up the game. I was gonna say, they just need to continue creeping forward and doing damage over here, but I guess their morale was destroyed when that one big chain reaction went off. My goodness. What a turnaround of a match. I wasn't expecting the red team to be able to claw back after those 2 massive nukes and the overwhelming win in the middle of the map here. But I guess it just goes to show morale is a resource, and if it's mismanaged, then this is exactly what can happen. Beautiful, beautiful game from these two. And I sure hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out.